All right. What is up, everybody, in this 6 week sprint group? We're going to be getting this live kicked off in less than 1 minute, just giving everybody a chance to hop on. My name is Julian Doan. I'm super excited to spend, the next 25 minutes with each and every one of you, going over the mindset you need to be able to get to the next level. So we're just going to give a couple more minutes, or it's actually just one more minute for people to hop on. Awesome, awesome. Leslie, welcome to the live. This is actually full discretion. This is my second live I've ever done in my life, so hopefully this goes well. Christine, welcome to the live. Awesome, awesome. We're just gonna wait about 20 more seconds. If you're just now joining us, and either you're just now joining us or watching the replay, make sure you grab a notepad and pen. We're gonna be going over a lot of valuable information. And one of the things my mentor has always taught me is that it's always to trust a short pencil over a long memory. So it's always good to take notes, right? The best leaders are note takers, okay? All right, so right now it's 10:04, so we're gonna go ahead and get this call started. Again, first and foremost, thank you to every single person for hopping on, watching this live. And more importantly, thank you for everybody that's watching the replay. And even bigger, thank you for everyone that's watching this over and over again. And the reason why that's so important is because guess what? Repetition is the father of all learning. And you know what the F stands for? The F stands for finisher, right? Wheezy F Baby is the one that said that. So, but again, thank you so much for hopping on. These calls, these sprints, these group efforts are going to be some of the greatest tools in supporting you in building your business. Okay. So with that being said, I want to introduce myself. I know there's a lot of familiar faces that are going to be on this call. So you already know who I am, and there's going to be a lot of new faces. And what's great about Remond is there's so many different people from so many different backgrounds that are going out there making it happen. And one thing that we all have in common is that neither of us, no one on this call, no leader in this business, right, could have been convinced about how one random meetup can change everything. One phone call, one Zoom can change everything. And so if you're on this call, whether you realize it or not, you simply saying yes to the Remont opportunity, you choosing to get involved, your life has already transformed and has already changed. And a lot of times we think the best before and afters are the pictures that we take from using the products. But the best before and afters are not from using the products. It's from being a part of this business. It's from being a part of this community. You see, in October 2023, I showed up in joggers and a tank top to the JW Marriott Hotel because I simply thought I was just showing up to hang out with Tim and Chris, our national directors, right? Little did I realize that I was walking into a Remond convention that would simply just change my whole perspective forever. And not just that, but my life. For those of you who don't know, I already built a solid career as a group fitness coach, both in studio and digitally. I work with a lot of brands like Lululemon, Aloe, so a lot of exciting stuff, right? But here's the deal. Even though I was making a substantial amount of money doing that, deep down, I knew that if I stopped working, I stopped making money. You see, I would get paid $100 a class, right, to teach in studio. And I would teach 22 classes a week, right? When I film classes for brands like Lululemon, they pay me $300 per class. Some classes are 15 minutes, some classes are 45 minutes. And although the money's good, again, it's tied to when I show up. It's tied to when I work. And being 38 years old, in the back of my mind, I was always worried about what's next. At the time, my wife was my girlfriend. I was planning to propose. I was planning to get married. And I just started thinking to myself, well, what if we did get married? What if we did have kids? Like, can I sustain this kind of work schedule, right? And for me, like, I love my parents. I was very fortunate to have great parents. But a lot of my memories with my parents is me waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning, being dropped off at the school daycare, even in high school, simply because my parents couldn't watch me, right? And they would leave to work, and after school, I would say at the after school daycare, after school programs, my parents would pick me up at 6 o'clock. We would come home, have dinner. I would get yelled at for hours because I didn't do my homework. And that was just my life, right? Going throughout high school. And again, I was very, very fortunate. We always had a roof over our heads, food on the table. We always had everything that we needed. And my dad knew how to get us what we wanted, right? But for me, I knew that when I had kids, when I get married, I want to spend time with my wife. I want to be able to spend time with my kids. I want to be able to drop them off at school and pick them up right before school starts and right where school ends. I want to be able to chaperone their field trips. I want to chaperone their prom, right? And so for me, I knew that kind of life would not be possible if my income was always tied to my time. And so that's why Remon caught my eye. And you take a look at $2.5 billion in sales in 4 years, right? Korean heritage ingredients. the instant efficacy behind the technology. You take a look at the luxury quality without the luxury prices. And then you take a look at the rewards and revenue program that just makes sense and recently has gotten even better. And come June is even going to be better than that. So, fast forward till today, right? I've gotten a chance to walk across stage as a team leader. I got a chance to walk across stage as a director. Our organization right now is, over 7,000 people. We're doing, we have over 28,000 customers. We're doing over 1.5 million a month in revenue, right? And, at our last convention, we had over 55 team leaders. We had over 10 directors, 2 senior directors. And, if everything goes according to plan, I should be wrapping up national director by the end of the year. But you know what? My biggest thing that I got from Remont that I'm grateful for, I proposed early to my wife. I got married even sooner. I was able to give my wife, her dream car, which is her Porsche. She's a team leader herself. We got to travel the world. And, from a simple yes that I didn't think anything of it, I was able to triple my full-time fitness income, doing this part-time in the very beginning. And, listen, I know I talk a lot about my wife. And, people often wonder and they often ask, they go, Julian, who wears the pants in the relationship? Well, let me tell you something. In our relationship, neither of us would, each of us would prefer neither of us wear pants. So that's just our relationship. But so again, I just wanted to have some fun and share with you, like kind of like my Remont story. And again, we all got started just like you, from Dr. Rimka, right? To Lori, to Abby, to Tracy, Susan, Brianna, Dina, all the amazing leaders that we have in this call. They got started just like each and every one of you. And through a simple yes, through consistent action and work, they were able to constantly reach the next level and build the income they have right now. And so I'm super excited to have this call, talk about mindset. And again, the theme of today's call is really getting to that next level, right? Getting to that next level. And here's what I want to share with you. No matter your income, no matter your rank, that next level is not a position in the company. That next level, guess what? It's a mindset. That next level is the new version of you that's been yet undiscovered. That next level, right? More importantly, is one decision away. So I'm super excited to be here. And again, whether you've been on the Remont journey, whether this is your day 1 or this is your year 2, I want to remind you of something very, very powerful. Again, the next level is not outside of you. It's you. It's an undiscovered version of you. It's a you that you didn't even know you could be. It's a you that you didn't even know it's possible. And it all starts there, right? Now, this is a 6-week sprint, and I'm a firm believer that you're not here by chance, right? You're not part of the 6-week sprint by chance. You're here because of choice. You made that decision to be a part of this. You made the decision to run with us, right? But the question is this, and this is, we're almost over, right? 4 weeks in, 2 weeks left. I want you to treat this call like a stop and see, an opportunity for you to stop, right? Look at how you've been showing up. Look at how you've been playing this game of Remont, how you've been playing this game of life, and more importantly, to be able to choose from a new place that if it's been working, keep doing what you're doing. If you could do more, step it up. And if you haven't been showing up, guess what? It's time to show up, not in the business, but for you, okay? So here's the real question, okay? We're all part of this sprint, but we're not all showing up the same. So the question I want to ask you is this before we go even further. Are you pacing? Are you running? Are you chasing? Are you sprinting? Are you crawling? Are you walking? Okay? Because at the end of the day, I want you to remind you, why did you join this sprint? Right? What's the reason why you're here? Why are you really here? Why are you doing this, right? Because again, forget about ranks for a second. I don't care what your title is. Right? Right now, inside this sprint, right, you're either going to be falling into one of these 3 categories, and only one of them is going to win. So again, before I dive into that, I want to ask you, why are you here? Remember your why, because if you don't know why you're here today, guess what? Chances are you're not going to be here tomorrow. And you need to have a big freaking why. A why is so big that no matter what challenges or obstacles show up, they're going to conquer them, because getting to that finish line, accomplishing your why is going to make it all worth it. So again, there's 3 types of people, right, in this chat right now. 3 types of people in this group, 3 types of people part of this sprint. And again, I want you to check in and ask yourself which one you are. Okay, and again, it doesn't matter about rank and title. It doesn't matter about income. We're all going to fall in one of these 3, okay? And only one of them is going to win. So the first person that you could be is a dabbler, right? What's a dabbler? This is a person that's checked in, right, but not locked in. Does that make sense? There's a difference between checking in and locking in. And let me tell you something, right? The cost of not locking in is clocking in for the rest of your life. So what are the dabblers, right? The dabblers are the people, right? They're watching the lives, they're watching the replays, they're liking the posts, right? Maybe even showing up to the calls, right? But deep down, they're toe dipping, right? They have 1 foot in, 1 foot out. They're still trying to see if this works instead of deciding to work it. Listen, the question whether or not Remon works or not has been answered a long time ago. The question on whether it's going to work for you or not, only you can decide that. You take a look at Harvard, some of the best schools in the world, with the best classes, best books, best programs, and yet the graduating class is still smaller than the freshman class. It's not because the school was not effective. It wasn't because the teachers were bad or the books were poorly written, right? It simply comes down to the participation of the students. And hey, listen, even if the teacher sucks, even if the class isn't well outlined, that's never an excuse for you not to put in the work to guess what? To get the result that you want, right? So again, that's what a dabbler is. They're still trying to figure it out. But let me share with you something. Dabblers don't build businesses. They collect screenshots, right? And again, the price of not locking in is clocking in for the rest of your life. The second type of person that you can be is what we call a grinder, right? What is a grinder, right? A grinder is a person that's doing the work. They're in it. But guess what? They're white knuckling it, right? They're forcing it. They're burning out. They're simply saying yes to everything. There's no systems. There's no scale. It's just survival. You're doing it because you're supposed to do it, right? But you don't really do it to understand why to do it. And more importantly, right? You're not being intentional with it, right? This business doesn't just happen. This business happens just, okay? So guess what? What is the shift? The shift, if you're grinding right now, is to grind smarter, right? Because here's the deal. If your business right now feels like a second full-time job with worse pay, then you're a grinder, okay? So how do you shift that? How do you get out of being a grinder? It's not to stop grinding. There's nothing wrong with the hustle. You need to hustle. But the difference is you need to hustle smarter. You got to create leverage, right? Plug into what works, right? Work through people, not just around people, right? Getting on these calls, following up with your teams, seeing what they're getting from the calls, and more importantly, applying what you're learning from the calls is the secret. Now, the last person is the one that wins. And this person who's on this call, they're the creator, right? That's who they are in the sprint. They're a creator. You see, this person, guess what? They're not dabbling. They're not drowning. They're designing. They're leading with vision. They're leading with purpose. They're leading with passion because they understand that this 6-week sprint is the launch board to what's next, right? This is not the end all be all solution. No, this is just the launch pad. So they're already focusing on their vision of what happens after this. They're not trying to get through the 6-week sprint. They're growing through the 6-week sprint, right? So again, creators, they don't just show up. Guess what? They shift rooms. Right? And are you shifting the room that you're walking into? Are you shifting your organization? Are you shifting the calls when you get on them? Right? So again, you know exactly which one you are, and deep down, you know which one you're tired of being. Okay? This sprint gives you the map. But understand, the map means nothing unless the driver commits. So the question is, are you simply a passenger in your life right now, or are you the driver? Are you the passenger in your business, just seeing wherever it takes you? Right? Are you like, Jesus, take the wheel? Right? Or are you the person saying, hey, I'm in control. I'm driving the car. And I might not be the best driver, but I'm going to learn. Right? And those are the people that win. So, let me share with you a wake-up call that every leader needs. Right? And, they come at different moments. Right? And we're at different places in the business. But sometimes that's all we need. A simple wake-up call just to say, hey, this isn't your best. You could do better. You could do more. Right? Or, if you think this is as good as it gets, you just don't know how great it can be yet. And that's what we need, right? And that's why I love these calls. And so the 3 wake-up calls that every leader needs, right? And number 1, you don't need more motivation. You don't need more motivation. Stop looking for that, right? Motivation doesn't last. You see, what you need is movement. Sometimes in life, what slows us down is like, I have so much doubt. I have anxiety. I need motivation to take action. Well, let me tell you something, okay? The ironic thing about life is anxiety, right? Doubt stops us from taking action. But the only way to remove action, guess what? Doubt is action, right? Let me say that again, right? A lot of times, what stops people from taking action is doubt. But the only thing that removes doubt is action. And so again, right? If you want to create momentum in your business, it's time for you to take action, right? all out massive action. And again, you can't think your way into clarity, you act your way there. So move, then reflect. Motion creates emotion. Okay, the second thing I want to share with you is this, right? Don't wait until you feel ready. You see, you can't just simply wait until you're ready. You decide that you are. You see, another trap that people make is they'll say, "I'll start when." I'll take my business seriously. When my kids are off, spring break, or I'll take my business seriously when I'm not as busy, right? When things free up. And let me share you something. That's the biggest trap. The biggest trap is when people say, "I'll do it when," and they wait for the perfect moment. Let me tell you something. The perfect moment's not going to come. There's no better moment than right now, right? If there was a better moment to start, it will probably be like before the 6 week even started, right? It's probably last week and better than that the week before. But the best time to start right now is right now. Okay, the best time to start is when you're busy. The best time to start is when it's inconvenient. The best time to start is when you're spread too thin. And you know why that is? Because you learn how to make it work under these circumstances. You see, the amount of success that you're going to be able to enjoy in your life is going to be directly proportionate to the amount of stress you can handle in your life. There's a saying, more money, more problems, right? Where does that come from? Right? Because guess what? The more money you make, chances are you're probably solving more solutions. There's probably more stress, right? There's more challenges. Okay? Why, and so again, the best time to start is now when it's inconvenient. And you know why that is? Because once you figure this out, when you have more time, when you're not spread as thin, when it is convenient, think about how much better, how much more effective you're going to be. You see, the biggest thing I saw, is during COVID, I saw so many people get in shape. Why? Because they couldn't go to work, right? They had so much more free time. So they decided to commit to their fitness and they started working out because they finally had time to work out because their schedule was so busy. But you know what else I noticed when COVID ended, right? When people went back to work, a lot of those people, when they went back to work and they had their full-time schedule again, you know what ended up happening? They end up getting all the weight back and they end up even gaining more because they didn't know how to sustain it based on the old lifestyle they had. And so that's the challenge of waiting until you're not busy. That's the challenge of waiting until you're not convenient and when it's convenient. You see, all the people that were already into fitness before COVID happened, guess what? When COVID happened, they got even more shredded. They got even better results because now they had even more time. And so that's the key. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait until you're ready. Decide that you are. And last but not least, here's the big part, right? Your next level is not going to feel like fireworks. It's going to feel like discomfort. It's going to feel like challenge. It's going to feel like pain. Because guess what? Every new level is going to require a new you. And in order to get to that next level, guess what? With every new level brings with it a new devil. It's like a video game, right? And again, how do you level up? You got to beat the boss. You got to go on those quests. You got to go on those challenges. And I want to share with you, like, we talk a lot about transformation being this beautiful butterfly, right? This caterpillar changing into a butterfly. But what they don't tell you is that the moment you're in the chrysalis stage, you're in the cocoon, it is violent, right? It's trauma. You're being broken down. You're going to feel like you're buried. But you know what? In reality, you're being planted so a new you can grow. And again, at the end of the day, I don't know who sold you that dream, but growth doesn't feel comfortable. Guess what? Getting in shape doesn't feel comfortable. But guess what? The results are worth it. Becoming wealthy is uncomfortable. Guess what? The results are worth it. Having, a high value relationship, guess what? It's stressful. It's work. It's learning how to get off yourself and what you want and make it about another person and learning how to outserve each other. But guess what? The result is worth it. But let me tell you something. A lot of times, right? The reason why growth doesn't feel good is because it's unfamiliar. And let me tell you something. Okay? It's unfamiliar because you haven't done it yet. And let me share with you something. Just because it's uncomfortable doesn't mean you're not capable. Just because it's tough doesn't mean that you're not tougher. Does that make sense? Right? I tell people all that in the gym. Just because it's heavy doesn't mean you can't lift it. You undersell how good you are, right? You undervalue how good you are. In the gym when I'm training my female clients, it's so funny because I see them lifting 5-pound, 10-pound dumbbells and I stop them and I go, "Hey, do you have kids?" And they go, "Yeah, I have kids." I go, "Well, when was the last time that you carried your eldest kid?" They're like, "Well, when they were like 6, they were like 40 pounds. I'm like, "Yeah, do you remember those old days when, you come home from a party, your kid's sleeping in the chair and you didn't want to wake up your kid, so you pick up your kid with one arm, you grab all the stuff with the other arm because you don't want to make another trip. You find some way to open up the door, you go into the house, and if you want a 2-story building, right, guess what? You're carrying your kid up the stairs, tucking them in bed. Do you remember that?" They go, "Yeah." "How much did your kid weigh?" And they're like 40 pounds. I'm like, yeah, you picked up your kid with one arm with 40 pounds, and you're telling me right now you can only lift 5 or 10 pound dumbbells. And again, what does that tell you? It tells you that you're way more capable than you think you are. You're better than you know. But guess what? Right? If you don't push yourself, you're not going to get there. If you don't challenge yourself, you're not going to change yourself. And at the end of the day, you never know how far you can go until you go as far as you can. And I promise you, every single person on this call has what it takes. It just might take everything that you got. So a couple things, and we're going to wrap up this call, okay? To the newest members, the people that are here at the very beginning, again, okay, you might feel like you have a lot to learn, but don't confuse being uncomfortable with being incapable. More importantly, understand every top earner was you once, hopping on this call, hungry for success, thirsty for knowledge, wanting to make it happen. But the difference between you and them, they just made one more call, right? They made one more post, right? They made one more invite. They got one more customer. They got one more planner, right? And they just made one more decision. And guess what? You know what that decision is? That they're not going to quit. Now, to the people on this call that are already making $50,000 to $100,000 a month, I know we have a lot of on this call. Let me tell you what the danger of this business is. The danger of this business isn't failing. It's succeeding just enough to stop evolving. Okay? Remember, your net worth will never exceed your self-worth, so continue to grow. And guess what? The growth that you pour into yourself is a gift that's going to pay it forward to your team. And the biggest thing I'm going to share with you is this, right? If the king or queen doesn't rise, guess what's going to happen? The kingdom dies. So it's important for you to rise so your kingdom can rise. And for those of you that are on this call, they're making $30,000 a month already plus, let me share with you something, okay? Our roles have changed. It's not the same as everybody else. Our job now isn't just to build bigger paychecks, right? It's to build bigger people. You know, the best way to look at what we do, we're not, you know, products don't move products. People don't move products. That's the biggest myth. So stop focusing on getting your people to move products. The biggest takeaway is super simple, right? Products don't move products, right? People don't move products. People who are moved move products. So let's get back to focusing on moving the people. And guess what? The products are going to move themselves, right? It's all about building bigger people. Listen, we don't sell skincare. We don't sell soap. That's what Remon does. We sell dope. We sell hope. We're hope dealers. We sell dope experiences. We sell dope people. But more importantly, we sell hope. And that needs to be at the forefront again. Because guess what? People need hope today. People need to believe again today, right? And, put yourself back into the shoes of when you first got started, when you needed this business to work, when this was your last chance, your last hope, your Hail Mary, right? That's where people are right now. And guess what? We are, whether you realize it or not, we are in the fitness industry because every single one of you in this call, you know what we are? We're bodybuilders because we build people. So let's get back to building people, okay? And so wrapping this up, I like that it's called the sprint because it sounds like it's a race. But let me share with you something. This race is a lot different. This race isn't about who finishes first. It's about who finishes changed. You don't want to walk out. And the person on this call that walks out of the 6-week sprint, the same person as they entered the 6-week sprint, wasted 6 weeks of their life. Okay? So again, the goal is not to finish. The goal is to change. Okay? It's to change. And the next thing I want to share with you is this. The worst thing you can do is to treat this 6-week sprint like a diet. A lot of you are going to get results because you're challenging yourself, you're pushing yourself, you're getting uncomfortable, and you're going to get a lot of great results because you're increasing your productivity, not just activity, but productivity. But the worst thing you can do is putting your all into the 6-week sprint, and then when it's all said and done, you're like, cool, the 6-week sprint's over. I can breathe now. And guess what? The moment you take the foot off the gas, your business is going to go back to where it was. Don't treat this like a diet. Treat this like a lifestyle. Don't treat this 6-week sprint like it's Ozempic. Does that make sense? There's a lot of better peptides out there. I don't know too much about peptides. You can talk to Dr. Rimka about that. She's the peptide, expert, right? But don't treat this like how people treat Ozempic, right? Most people treat Ozempic as what? As a lose weight fast program. And guess what? They're misusing it. They're just treating it as a temporary thing instead of using it to get them a head start and building the right habits so that way they can get off Ozempic, have the habits, have the head start, and create better results. You see, the people that are going to get the best results, right, from this sprint are the people that are going to treat this like a lifestyle. They're going to treat this as a launching pad. They're going to take the momentum they create here and sprinkle what they learned, what they experienced, the growth, and pay it forward to their people. Right? And last but not least, I want to share with you, decide right now. right? Because guess what? 6 weeks is going to wrap up for all of us. We're all going to arrive 6 weeks from now, right? Well, hopefully, right? But at the end of the day, guess what? We're not going to arrive at the same place. So again, it's about starting with the end in mind. Okay, and what do you need to decide? Who do you want to be at the end of this 6 weeks? Who do you want to be? Speak it, write it, become it. Decide to be that person now. Think how that person thinks now. Works how that person thinks now. And guess what? 6 weeks from now, you're going to have the results of that person, okay? And, to wrap this all up, because this is a 6-week sprint, it reminded me of a story, and I'll leave you with this, okay? The story is called The Runner Who Got Lost. And this is a story I heard once. I think it was from Mr. Tim Herr. I'll never forget it, right? But it's about a guy training for an ultra marathon. And for those of you who don't know, ultra marathon, it's 100 miles. I don't like even running for a mile, so I can't even imagine people running for 100 miles, right? But pray for them because they're probably in a dark place, right? But I'm just kidding, right? But it's 100 miles, right? And it's through the desert. Now, this guy is an absolute beast. He's disciplined. He's strong. He had all the right gear. He had all the right prep. But here's what happened. Halfway through the race, something went wrong. You see, he took a wrong turn. He missed a marker. And by the time he realized it, he was already way off course, right? And guess what? This is the part that hit me. Instead of turning around, if he would have quit, if he would have turned around, if he would have went home, no one would have blamed him and everyone would have understood. But when it got the hardest, he had to stop, look, and he had a choice to make. And instead of turning around, he chose to keep going, right? Not because he thought he could win. There's no chance. He kept going, not because there were cameras on him, right? Because there were all the people in the front. He kept going because he made a decision before the race even started. He said to himself, no matter what happens, I'm going to finish. He already knew, right, before the event even started, where he wanted to end up and the results he wanted from this race. Now, again, your 6-week sprint has already started. What did you want from this event? What was the decision that you made? Because it's in that moment that you keep that decision long after the moon has set is where it all turns around. You see, again, he made a commitment that he was going to finish no matter what. Even if it doesn't look like how he planned, even if he didn't come in first, even if no one was watching, he made a commitment that he was going to finish. And so what's the lesson? You see, that's what this sprint's all about. The 6-week sprint that all your top leaders put together for you. It's not about finishing with a trophy. It's about finishing with a transformation. Transformation in your business, in your income, but more importantly, transformation in who you get to be for other people and transformation in who you get to be for yourself. Because let's be real. Some of you are probably off course right now. Some of you haven't hit the goal that you set. Some of you got busy, got in your head, right? You got caught comparing your results with somebody else's results. And again, it's tempting to coast. It's tempting to quit. It's tempting to start again next time, right? But what if this version of you, the one in the middle of all this mess, is the version that builds your next level? You see, that runner didn't win the race, but his story got told more than the winners. Because it wasn't about performance. It was about who he chose to be when it didn't go to plan. And sometimes in life, things are not going to go according to your plan. But God has better plans. And let me tell you something. God is a better planner. And sometimes you're in your mess. It's hard to understand why you're experiencing what you're experiencing. Sometimes it feels like it's raining when it pours. But maybe that's just a test to see how bad you want what you said you wanted. Because here's the truth. You can have all the tools. You can have all the training. You have all the products. You can have the best rewards and revenue program. You can have all the best mentors. But if you don't make the decision that I will finish no matter what, then none of it sticks. Because leaders don't lead because things are easy. Leaders lead because the trail disappears and they keep going. They get louder, they get bolder, and more importantly, they become someone worth following. So become someone that's worth following. Become someone of value. And let me tell you something. This can be the starting point of everything for you. So that being said, thank you so much for joining me on this live. The next level's waiting. And that next level is not a rank, it's not an income, it's not a title. It's the you waiting to be born, to move, touch, and inspire the people around you. So until next time, y'all, Keep getting it. Let's get rich. And I'll see you guys at the top.